can. Bigger, bolder, faster. Ooh, going to the maximum. Going to the maximum. Going to the maximum.
Mabuhay, everyone. My name's Simit Naik. I'm the Director of Commercial and Strategy at nChain. So today I'm going to talk about blockchain, and more specifically about blockchain for enterprise and government projects. So we've heard a lot today about Web 3.0, Web 2.0, NFTs, DAOs, DeFi, CeFi, DEXX. So today I'm going to give you a slightly different perspective and talk to you about some of the industry use cases that governments are looking for and some of the challenges we're looking to address. So very quickly, so I'm the Director of Commercial Strategy at nChain. We're an organization based out of Zug in London, in Switzerland, an office in London, and as of 2 weeks ago, an office in Manila, headed up by Nicholas King and Stephanie. And so we're a multinational company. We focus very much on research and development of blockchain technology, but also building solutions that take advantage of blockchain technology. Our mission is to secure the Internet of Value. Now, this is a phrase that you probably don't fully understand now, but at the end of the presentation, you should get a clear understanding as to exactly what we mean by the Internet of Value and the role we play in ensuring that we can deliver the foundational capabilities for governments, enterprises, and everyone here to be able to exchange data and value. So as an organization, we have three main areas of focus. Software, so we build a lot of software. We deliver software to our enterprise clients, our government clients. We also have professional services, so where people are still understanding how and where they can utilize blockchain, we'll help them on that journey. So very much focus on strategy and advisory. And we also one of the largest. We also have one of the largest portfolios of IP related to blockchain, and so we do a lot of work to ensure that everyone has access to this IP, that everyone can build on the innovations that we deliver to the market. We have over 2,800 patents related to blockchain, which places us in the top 5 global patent holders for blockchain technology. And so when we think about the blockchain, we always think about Bitcoin and Ethereum and one of the other 7,000 tokens. But blockchain is more than cryptocurrency. It's also more than some of the terms we've listened to today, right? It's more than CeFi, it's more than DeFi, it's more than DEX, it's more than NFTs, it's more than DAOs. And blockchain is not about anonymity. It's not about eliminating third parties totally. And it's not about avoiding regulation. Blockchain is much, much, much more. And what blockchain gives us is data integrity. It gives us the ability to introduce transparency, integrity in the data that we all use and utilize in every interaction we have. It's a timestamp server. It's an audit trail of things that have happened, when and in what order. And as a timestamp server, it gives you the ability to introduce an immutable audit record of everything that's happened. And Bitcoin itself is just an audit of transactions that have occurred. But more importantly, the blockchain is about peer-to-peer value exchange. When Bitcoin white paper was introduced in 2009, the title of it was Bitcoin, an electronic peer-to-peer cash system. We kind of moved away from that, but the innovation that Bitcoin delivered was all about peer-to-peer exchange. And more importantly, and probably one of the most important points, is it provides trust among parties. As we evolve into more of a digital society, as we transition into Web 3 and the metaverse, we are going to be interacting and exchanging data and value with people we don't trust. And the blockchain becomes a foundational capability in order for us to be able to do this. And so very quickly, kind of summarizing it, a blockchain is a distributed ledger. It enables micropayments. And again, one of the biggest innovations that Bitcoin delivered when it was first released was the ability to do micropayments. When we think about micropayments and the power it delivers, you can imagine in a world where we have IoT devices, we have connected devices, we have individuals, we have applications, we have NFTs, we have games. Every single one of those can be paying peer-to-peer microtransactions. And that fundamentally changes the way that we consume services and the way we build businesses in the future. And it's a secure infrastructure. And one of the things we'll be talking about is how we use blockchain for enterprise and government use. And for governments and enterprises across the world, security, resilience is probably two of the most important factors. And what blockchain gives us is a secure infrastructure for us to build upon. And scalability. We can't be in a position to deliver technology and benefits and value to people unless we can scale. And so blockchain that can scale, that's secure, is perfectly suited to the kind of projects and solutions that I'll be talking about later on. Before I do, it's probably worth kind of just differentiating between terminology. So when I talk about blockchain, I'm talking about public blockchain. Things like Hyperledger, Quorum, Corda are private ledgers. By their very definition, they're not blockchains. And so traditionally, governments have been looking at using private ledgers for building applications and products. Now, they're starting to transition to public blockchains, because public blockchains give them significant advantages over what a private ledger can. Private ledgers may be cheap, but they're not secure. They're still reliant on centralized entities. They're not publicly available, so you can't independently verify events or the truth. And there's no independent guarantee of anything that happens on a private ledger. On a public ledger, everything is publicly verifiable. Everything is visible. Anyone can go onto a blockchain and see the version of the truth and the events as they happened. Public blockchains can be fast, and they can be cheap, but they need to be designed in such a way that they're scalable, they're performant, and they're cost-effective to run. And so it's important to note that not all blockchains are built the same. So if we want to build solutions for governments and we want to build products and solutions for enterprise clients, we need to ensure that we're building on a blockchain that's fit for purpose and that gives us the capabilities we need. It's one of the reasons that we build on a public blockchain called BSV. It's an enterprise solution. And the reason it's an enterprise solution is it's secure. It's been running for 13 years with no compromise. It's had a fully audited kind of full security audit of the node software and all of the infrastructure that it operates on. And it's immutable. So from a data governance perspective, a public blockchain gives you that security, gives you that resilience. Performance, we can't build digital payment systems or CBDCs on a blockchain if it can only do 7 transactions per second. So BSV blockchain gives us the ability to do 50,000 transactions per second today, and soon up to 100,000 TPS. And so that gives us the ability to go to a central bank with confidence that we can deliver a solution to run a national payment system. Larger blocks means that not only are we able to transact and process more transactions, larger blocks also give us the ability to capture more data. So for transactions, embedding metadata in them gives more information. It gives more value. And so having a blockchain that not only processes more transactions, but also gives us the ability to store more data is a significant value add. And stability. Governments don't want to build on a blockchain that continually changes. With Ethereum going from proof of work to proof of stake, with other blockchains changing consensus mechanisms and changing the underlying data sets and business rules within the protocol itself, doesn't build confidence in central banks or governments. So BSV blockchain is stable. What exists today is going to exist in the future. What's valid today will exist and be valid in the future. And that gives us the confidence for us to be able to then build these applications and services on the blockchain itself. So we talked about blockchains. We talked about what constitutes an enterprise-ready blockchain. But it's also important to kind of focus on the top-down. So we focus very much on the bottom-up. And so when we think about what are the problems we're trying to solve and why blockchain makes sense, you can categorize them into 3 main areas. Data. Everyone uses data. Everyone's exchanging data. Everything that we do on a day-to-day basis revolves around data. But data is fragmented. Data is not accurate. It's difficult to share data or share the most accurate version of the data. Data is being compromised on a regular basis. And so how can you rely on data that you can't trust? And so blockchain is a key part of addressing that. Fragmenting systems, we talk about people not having access to banking services. People rely still heavily on cash. There's a significant proportion of this world that isn't included in the digital economy. They're not able to participate in, Web3 or DeFi. And so fragmenting systems is a big, big issue, and we need to address that. And again, blockchain gives us the ability to drive inclusion and drive accessibility. Lack of trust, we talked about data, but when we move to more of a digital commerce and more kind of connected ecosystems and we move into metaverse, we're going to be interacting with people that we don't know or people we don't trust. And so how do we facilitate the exchange of value and data with people we don't trust? And again, the blockchain gives us the ability to address that. And from a government perspective, there's probably 4 key challenges. 1, how can we use blockchain to enable policy? How can we use it to create jobs? How do we upskill and educate the population? And 4, promote inclusion. How do we deliver infrastructure and solutions that is fully inclusive, that allows anybody to access it and anybody to utilize it? Blockchain becomes the great equalizer, and we have to ensure that it remains inclusive and accessible. So from our perspective, we work a lot with governments and enterprises across the world. And we've started to understand, and we started to focus on the top down. We started to understand the challenges, the problems that exist. And with our knowledge and expertise in blockchain, we started to design solutions that we are now taking to market. One of the first ones is CBDC, so central bank digital currency. This is, for me, I'm very passionate about CBDC. I believe that it's the single most important thing that any central bank can do, especially to drive inclusion. And when we talk about inclusion, inclusion is not just financial. It's societal and it's digital. And CBDC is going to be a key part of how we drive inclusion. And our approach is using a public blockchain to deliver transparency, to deliver traceability, to deliver pure peer-to-peer payments. It's token-based, which means we can provide a digital form of cash, so it's inclusive, and it's performant. We can process 100,000 TPS, or 100,000 transactions per second. And we've done it in a flexible way, so depending on how the central bank wants to deploy, we can go direct, we can go down a 2-tiered model. We can also incorporate commercial banks and fintechs. So we can provide opportunities to new organizations and new startups to be part of this new ecosystem. We're delivering the underlying capability to deliver a digital cash payment system, which allows people to then innovate on top, right? So not only are we now addressing the challenges with inclusion, with a more effective, more digital, more cheaper form of cash, we can now start looking at how do we implement monetary systems on top to be able to support and address the challenge with the underbank. And so one of the biggest things, and there's a lot of words on here, so I just want to pull out a couple of them, peer-to-peer payments. You'll notice that peer-to-peer is referenced in this presentation a lot because peer-to-peer is the single most important innovation that Bitcoin and the blockchain delivered. The ability to transact between 2 individuals without an intermediary is a game changer. And the way we think about it in the future and some of the use cases that we want to utilize and deliver, peer-to-peer is one of the foundational capabilities. Being scalable, being token-based, being low transaction costs means we can deploy this in some of the most underdeveloped countries in the world to drive inclusion, both financial and digital. We look at wholesale, so where we think about cash for retail CBDC and for being a payment system for citizens. Wholesale allows us to deliver a system for commercial banks, for fintechs. It gives them the ability to provide a faster and cheaper form of money. And then this is slightly different. This is more account-based. It still uses the blockchain. The blockchain gives us the ability to do atomic swaps. It allows us to do things like building in automated market makers, so we can do FX swaps faster and cheaper. And this gives us the foundational capability to then start delivering fintechs, with the ability to introduce new ways of making payments, both remittances cross-border, but also domestic in terms of digital payment rails. And we can do it using private money, like stablecoins. We can peg it to assets or commodities. Very flexible, gives it the ability to deliver a system that is comparable to SWIFT and some of the other payment systems. So I've got 4 seconds left. So gaming, iGaming. So if you want to learn more about this, we're in on the booth. But there are also other use cases. So in Tuvalu, we're delivering a digital money solution that allows people to access a digital form of money because they're fragmented over 9 islands. They still rely on physical cash. Every quarter, the Tuvalu government have to ship physical money to the island and then distribute. Our system means they no longer have to do that. It gets money into the hands of people quicker and faster, which is helping to accelerate the economy. Gaming and supply chain and circularity. Circularity is an extremely important one. NAIJEX and CO2 pricing index. I'm going. And if you want to learn more about this, then I'll be at the booth and we can talk more then.
Philippine Blockchain Week. See you next year.